it's a really like big culture to get drunk like every weekend, really, among teenagers.
We've seen it sort of progress since when we started drinking. It was drinking like a lot cheaper stuff, and now sort of as you get older, obviously you earn money and you can buy more expensive drinks and stuff, but yeah, it's all like it's high percent spirits and stuff.
70% of children in year 9 and 89% of children in year 11 have already had their first alcoholic drink. What that tells us is that most teenagers are experimenting with alcohol, and it's important to be aware of that and think about that to help them be safe. Drinking alcohol plays a pretty big part in the way we all socialise in the UK, and it's not surprising that children are curious about alcohol and that teenagers start to experiment with alcohol as they get older. We know that they want to get drunk, but they don't want to get too drunk. It's really important to them that they don't want to make a fool of themselves, and they don't want to do stupid things or take risks when they're drunk. So that means they're walking an intoxication tightrope.
We know people who have ended up having their stomach pumps and things like that, and it's pathetic, really.
When you see someone who's drank way too much and you see the effects it's had to them, it's horrible. Like, I've seen people drank way too much, not even be able to move for like hours on end.
Things can go wrong, especially when they're in new situations or they're around a new set of people that they haven't met before. That can mean that they're drinking more than they mean to, and it can also mean that they're mixing their drinks and ending up a lot more drunk than they mean to. When that happens, they're at risk perhaps of having sex, they're at risk of getting into fights, and they're generally kind of at risk of making themselves pretty ill.
Like, I know a friend who had alcohol poisoning, and she was in hospital for 2 days, and people were really shocked because it wasn't like her to drink, but she was upset.
It's really important to try and stop them trying their first drink for as long as possible, because our research tells us that the earlier a child has its first drink, the earlier they'll start drinking. Be really careful not to fall into the trap of thinking you can control their drinking by having 1 or 2 drinks at home before they go out. It's really clear from our research that what they do is have the 1 or 2 drinks at home and then go out and drink much more. This is sometimes called preloading. As a parent, you need to be talking to your teenager and saying to them, keep track of how many drinks you're having. It's really easy to be drunker than you meant to be. Make sure you're not mixing your drinks. Cover the basics. Don't drink and drive. And don't leave drinks unattended, because there are real risks of perhaps drinks being spiked, particularly for girls.
My parents have always been quite open with it, like giving a glass of champagne at Christmas and things like that. So for me it was a bit more easier to talk to them. They spoke to me at quite, like when I was about 11 or something, just to make sure that it was enforced.
When my daughter was 11, I said to her that it's really best not to go there with alcohol because it can do a lot of bad things to you.
My parents didn't really speak to me much about alcohol, but one day I came home and they were sort of like had to speak to me then. So, but they were quite understanding about it, and then it helped because I didn't feel that I had to like not tell them anything. I could feel that I could actually speak to them about it and stuff.
You might think that now your child's a teenager, you haven't got much influence anymore, but we know from our research that what you do has a really big impact on the choices they make. Talking to them, hanging out with them, having fun, eating dinner together. If you're spending a lot of quality time with your teenagers, it reduces the risk that they're going to drink and that they're going to get into trouble. So if you show a lot of responsible attitude to drinking, if you're moderating your drinking, that's going to change what they do. Don't leave them to figure out alcohol with their friends. You've got a role in giving them good advice and being a good role model.